Hello and welcome to day 13 of the 30 days of singing. Okay, so my big birthday celebration is now well and truly done. It was a fantastic time and it's back to work as usual. Today is Tuesday, so what does that mean in the Little Soprano world? Well, of course it means Technique Tuesday. Each week I create a kind of small infographic packed with information all about singing, hopefully to provide some kind of trigger to the people who are looking at it and thinking about their singing. And today it's all about practice, how you practice. When you practice your singing, what do you do? Do you spend ages going through the song and keep doing the favourite bits, or do you break the song down and maybe go to the bits that give you the problems all the time? Do you know if you stay true to pitch? Do you give yourself a starting note? Do you practice to a backing track? All of the above are all things that you have to kind of think about when you're doing your practice, because the worst kind of practice that you can possibly do is where you just literally sing through the song without giving it any real thought at all. So as a singing teacher, what I try to get my students to think about and to practice and put into practice is the idea that it's better to practice more frequently for shorter periods of time, so that your brain, the function of your brain, is at its optimum for the sort of span that it most enjoys doing practice or detailed work. If you constantly get beyond that point, then it's doubtful that your brain is really taking on new information and kind of logging it away successfully in your brain for the next time. Remember, recently I've talked about the thing called neuroplasticity and the 3 stages of it, which are chemical, structure and function. You know, that's what happens when we reprogram our brains to learn a new skill. Okay, it's a process, and that process has to be very carefully monitored. So here's what I've said today in my Technique Tuesday tip of the day. I've said, there it is, look, on my phone. Practice frequently, yes, but do it correctly. Invest in the guidance that you need, enhance the right triggers, and avoid forming bad muscle memories. And that's when I mention neuroplasticity, which I've just talked about. So let's imagine that you've got a tricky bit in your song or something you're not very sure about. It is far better to find that bit and work on it in isolation, so that you don't always go to the beginning of the song to start your practice. Maybe you look at a bit at the end where you keep going wrong, and just for that practice focus on that bit of the song. Or there might be a bit of the particular word, for example, that poses a problem. There's nearly always a technique, a vocal technique pointer in there somewhere, where if you are being guided, if you have a singing teacher, if you belong to a mentoring group like Virtually Vocalese, then you can come into the group, or you can get some guidance that will just help you overcome that particular problem. You must make sure when you're practicing that you are focusing in the correct way, and therefore that's why you need guidance. You need guidance. You can't mentor yourself. The best way, I suppose, of doing some self-mentoring or self-scrutiny would be to video, take some film, watch yourself when you play it back and see what you think. Do you notice any particular little foibles that keep coming and going, or a particular phrase that seems to be your breath is not working as well? You've got to kind of trim it back, peel away all those layers of the onion to get to the core problem. And that's why you often need someone else who's perhaps more knowledgeable than you to make sure that you are not constantly practicing the wrong things. Okay, so that's my technique tip of the day, is practice more frequently, practice in shorter spans of time, get guidance, get some mentoring. You can video yourself and watch yourself and look for all those telltale habits that you have. Maybe you breathe very shallowly, for example, and you only really notice how little attention you pay to your breathing when you watch a video of yourself singing. Or perhaps you've got a slightly, stiff jaw that gets in the way slightly because, let's not forget that your jaw and your tongue are inextricably linked. They are linked to each other by a whole system of, it's very interesting actually, and I have got a video on my YouTube channel that it's not a video that I've made, it's one that I've actually saved because of its usefulness, where it shows all the kind of the musculature, the tendons and the way in which the jaw and the tongue are connected, and you can therefore see that with every little tiny bit of jaw tension your tongue is affected, and similarly with every little bit of tongue tension your jaw is affected. You have to enable them to work independently of each other, and that takes a skill, and there comes the neuroplasticity again. Okay, so my infographic is simple to look at and read, but there are volumes of information in there and things to think about. So watch what you're doing with your practice. It's far better to do it little and often, pay attention to the small stuff and get some really good guidance. Come and join us in the mentoring group Virtually Vocalese. Just follow the link. I'll put it in the video so you know how to spell it and all the capital letters and things. And at the moment I've got a special 7-day deal going on to encourage people to come in, see what they think, see if you like the group. Okay, alright, so have a look, find out what's to lose. Have a lovely day and more tomorrow.